uh, any kind of paint over there or dye there, then in that case to remove them, if it is we can say soluble in a water, then water can be used to remove that. But this stage, particular stage is very we can say critical or very careful, where we need to take care that when we remove the excess penetrant, we do not apply that much force or manner, so that the material, penetrant material which entered into the crack or flow will also come out, or it will be washed out. If it is so, then in that case we won't be able to identify the crack. So we need to do it carefully, and we need to remove it gently, so that the material which is there inside the crack or the flow is there, then it will stay there and the excess material will be removed. So here we need to take care of two things. Do it we can say very cautiously, and the second is we need to identify a very good solvent for the penetrant material, so that we can remove that. And later on in one more stage we need it, so the better quality of this particular solvent which is dissolving the penetrant material is needed. The fourth step after removing the excess, now we are having a we can say a fourth step where we need to develop that. So developing application. Now what we need to do, if it is a color dye which we have used as a penetrant, then there is no issue, it will be directly visible to us. So once we remove them, we will find that crack available. But if it is not visible directly, then in that case we may need to expose it. If it is fluorescent material, we need to expose it with a light. Once we expose it, it will show that indication, it will glow there, and we can identify the presence of that. If it is not so, then again we need to use a particular indicator. The penetrant and the another material composition, they will react and they will show the change in color. So for that we need to have a developer material, the material which we are going to sprinkle, spread, or we are going to dip the specimen into that, so that the penetrant material and developer material, they will show the reaction, or they'll do the reaction and they show the indication. So indication development. So if you dip into the material, or if such kind of reaction will be carried out, within a few minutes or within a small time span, you will find that the particular region where there is a flow is there, that will come into picture, and we can identify the position, place, and we can say size of the flow. So developing stage is also important, where we need to take care that it should not affect on the part of penetrant, or the manner by which we can make it more clear. Now if we go further, the next stage is inspection and report making. Now if after the developer stage, if we are having the flow available in a we can say a visible manner, then we can make it out, or we can see that, or observe that flow, and then we can make it out report. So the fourth stage is how it will be. For that I had given a one we can say example over here. We can say metal plate or lamina, wooden lamina sheet is there, and in that case crack is available. But crack is, you can see that in the slide, the crack is connected with the surface, so it's bleeding out, we can say. And then now if we are cleaning the surface as a part of first part, if we clean the surface, then we are going to apply a penetrant material, we'll remove the excess material, we will develop the we will develop that application, and then we are going to observe it. Report making will remain that. Report making, we need to mention the dimensions, location, position, as well as types of flow is there. So sometime it's a crack which is minor crack, bleeding out, major crack, big crack, porosity, blowholes. Then we need to mention that this kind of flow is available in the material, and what kind of observation you got it from the test. Now the last portion of this particular process, that is cleaning the surface. Once you do the testing, it's not that the whole process is over. We need to clean that, so that the material or specimen will come into the original state. We need to remove that penetrant which entered into the crack also, and for that, as we already talked about, we are having a solvent for the penetrant material which we have used in a removal of excess penetrant. So same material which we can use over here, and we can clean that whole surface with the help of that cleaning material, and we can remove the penetrant from the crack also. So now the material is in a same state. So by doing the whole process, we got the idea about the crack also, and we haven't changed any kind of chemical property or physical property of the material. This is the summary of the all states as shown in the slide. First state, we need to identify the crack. Actually, for that we are doing it, but the crack is available and the deposits are there as shown in the slide. Surface with the crack and grease or and dirt, that particles are deposited there. So our first state is to clean them. So after cleaning that, we will enter into a second we can say cell. In that case, it is given surface after cleaning the surface, and that is the first step we have done, cleaning the surface, preparing the surface. So after cleaning it, we are having only crack or surface available. Now you apply a penetrant on that, you can see the thin layer of red color dye is there. So as we apply it, or if we put it on the surface, then in that case with the capillary action they will enter into the crack region. They will not stay on the surface, but they will try to penetrate inside the material, and because they are having a more adhesive part or adhesive property, they will enter into the more depth. So they will enter into that region. Now the next step is removal of excess penetrant. So if we remove it, you can see that in cell number 4, excess penetrant is removed, but still in the crack the red portion is there. That means penetrant is staying there, and from the upper surface we have removed it. Now in the fifth step, we are going to put a developer material or developing material, which is going to give us indication. So as we spread it over the surface, it will give us indication of presence of that crack there. And then the sixth step will be there. Sixth step is inspection, report making and cleaning the surface totally. These are the 6 steps we can identify in the process of dye or fluorescent liquid penetrant test. Now if we think about what kind of property should be there when we are choosing the penetrant material, then we need to focus on them, because wisely chosen material will give us better result. So we need to identify certain properties. In one of them, spread easily. If we say spread easily on the surface, that means it should not possess a very viscous property. If it is very viscous, very we can say sticky kind of thing, then it is difficult to spread it on the surface. It should spread easily so that we can cover the whole region. And then second is capillarity action. It should show more capillarity. Again, it's the adhesive property should be there. More adhesive, then it is going to show more capillarity. And if it is showing more capillarity, that means it is entering into, we can say, more depth of the crack. So it will give us better idea about the flow. Then removal should be easy. Removal of excess material should be easy, and actually for this purpose we can do that. We can always choose a pair of penetrant material as well as solvent of that penetrant material. So if you are having a pair of such kind of material, penetrant and solvent, solvent for that particular penetrant, then in that case there is no trouble. So if you observe the previous 2 property of the material, and then if we look at the property of solvent of that particular penetrant material also, then in that case we can remove them easily. Next to that is remain fluid. Here, what is the meaning of that? If we apply the penetrant material on the surface, and if we remove the excess material, but within the process it should not solidify or it should not become dry. If it is becoming dry, then it will not show any kind of reaction with the developing material, or it will stop indicating us the presence of itself. So it should be in a whatever state it is. So if it is in a liquid state, it should be in that liquid state only, because it's a liquid penetrance test. So liquid state should remain as it should not get solidified. So this is a needed condition for penetrant material. Then highly visible or fluorescence brightly. So either the color of the penetrant material should be very bright in color, that it will catch our eye and we can identify immediately without any kind of other help, or it should fluorescence brightly. That means if it is giving out light, then it should emit sufficient light so that the glow will appear and we can identify them. And the last and important part in terms of NDT, as well as we can say for the safety of a observer, that it should not be harmful to the material also, harmful to the inspector also. So when we are doing the testing, penetrant material should be possess all this set of properties, and we need to have a pair of, we can say, solvent and penetrant material. Now we are having types of penetrant. One is dye penetrant, another is fluorescent penetrant. Dye penetrant, as we already said, it's a color penetrant which is having a very bright color, so we can identify the presence of such thing. And then if it is not so, it should have a we can say pair of developer material, penetrant and developer material. but after the reaction they should show a very good contrast from the color of developer and the we can say change in color of the flow or the penetrant and developer wherever they are reacting. So the pure clear indication should be there, and for that dye should react in a manner, or it should change in a manner that the developer color of developer and the dye should create a good contrast. Then in a case of fluorescent penetrant, we need to expose it with light. So when we are exposing it with light or ultraviolet light, then in that case it should give out a very bright color, and which is in a visible range. So if it is in a visible range, we can see them very nicely, and for that purpose also we can also make it out arrangement. The whole experiment or the testing is carried out in a dark room, so that when we expose it with the ultraviolet, it will give it out light in a visible region, and that glow will be visible to us, and we can identify the presence of that. As shown in the slide also, the person is doing that both the testing, and you can see that flow is visible immediately, because they are giving an indication in terms of bright colors. So these are the two penetrants which frequently used in a liquid penetrant test. Now if we go further, what kind of developer we can have? Developer material, once we apply a penetrant material, remove the removal of excess material, then we will put a developer on that. So there are developer, it may be in a state of powder, it may be in a state of liquid state, it may be suspended in a certain liquid, or aqueous, maybe a water solution, that is possible, or non-aqueous solution also, dissolved into any other we can say liquid. So dry powder developer, that we can sprinkle over the material, we can spread it over, but these are less sensitive. We'll see that then also we can develop the flow, or we can identify them. Then water soluble, we can have a developer which are we can dissolve them into water, and we can sprinkle or we can spread it on a surface, and then water will evaporate and the material will remain. Then water suspendable, that means they are not dissolved into that, but they are mixed with the water, and we need to steer them, and we need to keep it in a mixed form. Then if we put it, it will be suspended, it will go at the bottom, and it will show us this kind of indication. Non-aqueous, then in that case we can mix them with the alcohol, any other kind of material, acetone, which are volatile in nature, and we can sprinkle or spread on the surface, and then we will observe the change. Advantages, this is very we can say a method has high sensitivity for small surface discontinuity. If changes they are very small, crack they are small, then it will give us very good result. We can identify them over here. Then the method has few material limitations that we cannot, it's actually we can say disadvantage kind of thing, but we can make it in a advantageous manner. Other than this material, we can use it in a very nice manner. Large area and large volume parts can be inspected rapidly and with low cost. Variety of indicators they are available, so that we can do this testing easily. Then complex geometrical structure of the parts, that is they are there. Then how to reduce, how to remove we can say how to remove the complexity of the implementation of the inspection method. Here we can do it easily, there is no issue in that. Then indications are produced directly at the surface, and they are we can say easily observable. Visual representation of flow is there, so we can identify them easily. Then aerosol spray, they make the penetrant material very portable. So the penetrant material, they are in the form of spray, we can sprinkle them, and it's very easy to we can say take one place to another place, so portable. Then penetrant material and associated equipments, they are relatively inexpensive. So here we don't need a special device or gadget, so this is an inexpensive method. But there are certain problems also. Number of materials they are needed for test, and they are consumable. So once you use them, we need to buy them, or we need to purchase them again. So this is a problem. Person who is doing this test, the person should be aware about it. Person should be skillful. So again, a skillful person is required. This particular method will give us indication of the surface flow only. So again, body flow we cannot identify. Then if we talk about dwell time and the time taken in the steps. So here, if time required to carry out one or another step, that is more, then it's a trouble. So more time is required compared to the other methods. Then many if we as we already identify the pair of penetrant and the solvent of that penetrant, but then also after completing all 6 steps, if we say that the cleaning of the material or the specimen is done improperly or not, then there may be a small problem. If porosity is there in a specimen, then material may stay within the material specimen, and then in that case it may create a change in a physical or chemical property. So these are the methods. Next time we'll talk about radiography, but before that we will do a small experiment by which we can do the these two methods. How can we identify the flow with the help of we can say visual inspection and liquid penetrant method. So here we are going to talk about things which we are using in a we can say visual inspection. This is a magnifying glass that is commonly available. If you want to check out the property of certain material or objects which we are using in a day-to-day life, then how can we do that? So first one is, this is the glass slide I have brought it. Now if you want to see that what kind of quality it is possessing, then what we can do, by visual inspection we can make it out the state of that. So by keeping it with a tilt angle and light falling on it, we can see that surface quality. Is it rough or not, any kind of scratch is there or not, we can identify. So this is a general visual inspection, but if it is not possible to identify them with the normal eye, then what we can do, we can use a convex lens, a magnifying lens, which will give us idea about the flows available on the surface. In the case of slide we don't have to do that, but if we are having certain materials or components which we are using for, we can say, any kind of industrial application. Let's say this is a joint which we can use in a water pipeline, but rather than that we can have a metal, such kind of joints are there which we are using connecting many chemical we can say fluid pipes, or we can say boilers. Then in that case the material property should be proper, and for that if we are using a visual inspection method, we need to check each and every portion of this particular joint. Is there any crack available or not, what kind of finishing it is there or not, that we can identify with the help of visual inspection. And now if we continue with the visual inspection, minute things can be identified with naked eye or normal eye, or with the help of convex lens. But as we already talked about, certain errors or limitations are also there, that it can, as the magnifying power of the convex lens is there, the things are restricted up to that. We cannot magnify it further than certain value. So we can use microscope also, we can use cameras for that. If we go further than that, the limitation can be overcome by the second method. So rather than taking only one method as application, we can go for second method. And let's talk about a second method, that is liquid penetrant method. There are you just have to recall the steps we have identified for liquid penetrant method. The steps, they were